Is it on? No. Is this thing on? Hey guys, welcome back to Grinding Gears, episode 7. This is Fuel and Cool. So we had to make a fuel pump housing, I guess. As we explained before, we couldn't fit it into our original tank, so it was too tight and too tall. It's a pretty big fuel pump that has to go into there. So we made a fuel pump out of some 4-inch exhaust pipe. I just grabbed some from the local exhaust shop, and we had to just make a bottom out of I just grabbed some 1.6 fuel sheet metal, some sheet metal from Bunnings, and then had to cut it out and make it so it was offset, because there's a fuel return on that pump. So we had to make it, so it sat over a bit, so we had room. Then I just transferred the bottom of the shape of the fuel pump onto some cardboard using the CAD system again, and then we had to weld on some little dome nuts on the inside, because it was offset. 2 of the nuts are on the inside of the fuel bowl now, and we had to weld those around so we would seal it on the inside. So our good mates Jeff down at JSW, shout out to him, had to ask him for a bit of information today, so he was the brains trust today as well. Went down there and used his welder, so that's where you can see all the sick boats in the background. So if you need any good deals on boats, jet skis, Can-Ams, he's your man down at JSW at Arundel there. So I got that back, and we couldn't. One of the bolts had got stuck in the dome nut, so that was a bit of a pain in the ass. I had to cut the easiest way. Couldn't get it with an easy out or anything like that, because we couldn't go right through. We had to save the integrity of that nut. So it was just easier to just cut the whole thing off and start again. So I made the bottom part twice, welded it up twice. Put a little bracket on. We've made a little bracket there for it all sit on. Got this Permatex fuel rated sealant that turned to goo after we put it on and sat it there for a day, so that leaked, so had to start again on that one too. Had to pull it all apart. I made a rubber gasket as well. So that's our fuel pump, and this is our fuel pot. We also had a visit from our little mate Harley. So he's a little legend. He owns Works Racing. G'day Harley. G'day from me and Jack. And he came in and he helps us out every afternoon with a bit of advice and a bit of a yeah. So he's pretty helpful. So we like having Harley around. So we also had to thread in some little fuel lines. They're not in here at the moment. So just little M5 threads, and they'll run from the petcock here. So when the tank's on there, petcock's here, and the fuel our new fuel bowl will be here, our swell pot. So they'll go from there to there. They'll go into these two little fittings here. That was the other thing that we ran into. I probably should have pulled that fuel tank off and inspected the petcock and everything, you know, a month ago, but I didn't. So on our petcock, which is just here, it's supposed to have this little brass tube that's about this long, and as you can see, it's just been eaten away by leaving old fuel in the tank and just turned it into stripper and ate that little brass fitting away. So I've ordered a new one from America. Honda here was absolutely useless. Like what a shit show that place is. I don't know what's going on with parts people at motorbike shops up here in Queensland, but they got no idea, absolutely none. It's a real joke. Like, I thought it was funny the first time when we had to deal with another shop, but when we rang them, that was pretty good. So they're none in Australia, apparently, brand new. So they were ex-Japan for a 12-week wait. So we located one in America. That should be here in the next week or two. But the nut wouldn't come out. Tried the I don't know. We tried something. The impact driver. We tried the impact driver. That couldn't get it. So we just drilled the head off it, and then just wound the thread out of the bottom of the tank, and that's all good. So yeah, I think it's 60 or 70 bucks for a brand new one, genuine Honda. So we'll get that and we'll know it works. We'll know it'll all be clean. So that'll give us a chance in the next week or so to fully clean that tank out, and we'll know everything's sweet then. So while we couldn't do any more on that, we've decided to mount the radiator. So as we said before, it was a CBR 250, I think it's 2015 model. We got it from our mate at MotoGen on eBay. And then I've just used a factory mount, so it's pretty easy. We just pretty much just used one of the factory holes on the Honda on this one, and just ground out a little bit of the webbing on the frame, and it fits straight up in there, and we could pop a 6 mil bolt straight through there, and it centered it pretty much perfectly. So then on the bottom, all I did was got a bit of round bar from Bunnings and a little bit of 25 by 25 flat bar. Just cut them and just bent the round bar a little bit, and got some 8 mil inside diameter aluminium tube and cut that down to 13 mil. Made them because this radiator came with the rubber spacers already in it, the rubber grommets. So we just put that through, cut them 8 nuts and bolts, and welded her up, and the bottom hose that came with this thing fits directly onto, like, I've just shortened it up, but that fits directly onto the bottom hose for the KX450 motor. So we got lucky on that one. The next thing we're going to do is get this fuel pump or this fuel pot sealed, and then we're going to hopefully try and start it up. So and I've just got to make another, like, a top hose for this. So these are I think they're 16 mil on this, and then the inlet for the KX motors are 20 mil. So we're going to have to just dice a hose up and make that work. Other than that, like the radiator looks pretty trick. I'm pretty happy with it. It looks pretty good. It's small. I'd had a little fan shroud on the thermo fan that I just snapped off because it got in the way, so that was pretty easy to snap that off with my hand, so that was good. We don't need a guard on there for that. No one's putting their fingers in there. We'll probably made it a bit harder putting the exhaust on it, but we've got to have a radiator, so, and that's the best spot for it, so we'll just have to be a bit tricky with our exhaust from then. So I think that's about it, and we'll catch you on the next one.